There's nothing more frustrating to gamers as when they lose a life or miss the next level because the frame rate or frames per second are way too low. But is there anything they can do? Luckily, I'm here with Meredith of TuneUp to tell us exactly what they can do to solve this problems and increase their gaming experience on any Windows PC. So Meredith, thanks for taking the time to talk with us again today.
Thanks for having me.
So what are the key ingredients for gamers to get smoother, high-resolution gameplay?
Let's be honest here. The most effective way is to get a good graphics card, at least 4 gigabytes of main memory, and a fast 2 or 4 core processor.
I see. So if they have a bad graphics card, they're kind of out of luck. Is this the only option for them? Or what if they have a good graphics card and they're still experiencing lags and poor quality?
There are many ways of reducing bottlenecks and making all types of games run noticeably faster by optimizing your Windows operating system. 3 quick steps include performing a clean startup, disabling all animations and 3D effects, and using the latest graphics driver. These will all focus the PC's power on the game being played. Additionally, users can run Windows without any third-party services and startup items. This will reduce even more background activity. You can disable these applications in the Services tab of the System Configuration utility, simply by opening up the Start menu, typing in misconfig into the search field, and then hitting Enter to run it. Then you just have to deselect the services you want to disable. Then to disable the animations and 3D effects like the window fading and Vista's transparent interface, Windows Arrow, users will need to revert to the classic design from Windows 2000. This can be done by selecting the Adjust for Best Performance. By the way, all of these steps are explained in further detail on the TuneUp blog for Windows under blog.tune-up.com. We've posted a 4-part series with detailed instructions about all of this. But what I'd also like to point out is that gamers need to keep up to date with the latest upgrades from manufacturers. These can all be found online and have been proven to create a smoother, faster gaming experience.
So thanks for talking with us a little bit about what can be done on the operating system side to help improve the graphics speed. What about the software for the game itself? Are there any updates or patches or anything that can be done there?
Yep, absolutely. Game developers are constantly working to improve their products, so users should find and install the latest updates for their games by searching for patches on the game's website. In most cases, these will increase the game's performance and, at the very least, will get rid of some of the annoying gameplay quirks and bugs.
Now, there's also games that are available in 64-bit or 32-bit software. Does it make any difference for game speed and performance having one over the other?
Tricky question. If you run your game at a very high resolution with maximum texture levels, then you might notice some hiccups on the 32-bit version, since the 64-bit can handle larger data sets. But you'll only see these gains in performance with more than 2 gigabytes of RAM. 64-bit software has a larger memory footprint, so on a slower PC with less memory, you might find the games actually run slower.
Well, it's a good thing we're talking with you as an expert here. What would you recommend?
Well, if you don't play at the highest possible resolution and don't own a high-end gaming system, you're better off with the 32-bit version. If you're playing on a high-end PC, you should consider upgrading to 4 gigabytes or more of RAM. With this increase, the 64-bit game versions will run much better.
That makes sense. More RAM, go with the 64-bit version. Less RAM, go with the 32-bit.
Yep, another thing you can do to free up processor and memory resources is to disable the Windows Search Index. Vista and 7 systems maintain a database of personal files, emails, favorites, and start menu entries, so that searches for such items come up much faster. However, the indexing feature uses a noticeable amount of processor and memory resources, so disabling this will help focus your PC's resources on your gaming experience. The indexing service can be turned off under Turn Windows Features On or Off in the Programs tab of the control panel.
This has been great. Thanks for talking with us about all of these great tricks and tweaks for gamers. Do you have any last suggestions for listeners?
If any of our listeners are using TuneUp Utilities 2010 software, they can turn on the TuneUp Turbo mode. This feature does all the things we've mentioned today with the click of a button. Temporary disabling of services and features of Windows that you don't need, so your PC can focus entirely on whatever game you're playing.
So you covered an awful lot of detail here and some great suggestions. Do you have any resources or online references for listeners who want to find out more or don't want to write down everything that you've just talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned a little bit ago, listeners can visit the TuneUp blog at blog.tune-up.com and check out some of the gaming posts. which have much more step-by-step details on how to perform a clean startup, disable animations in 3D graphics, and upgrade their graphics card like we've discussed today.
This has been great, Meredith. Thank you so much for your time again today, and we look forward to learning more about improving users' PC experience in the future.
Thanks, Eric. I look forward to talking again with you soon.